Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing the build of the two F-14s. We're replicating Tom Cruise's F-14 from the movie Tomcat, or Maverick's F-14 as Revel calls it. But I am also at the same time building Tamiya's F-14A model kit. And we're doing them side by side in comparison to show you guys the difference between the Revel kit and the Tamiya kit. And so in the hopes that should you decide you want to take on a project like this, the Revel kit is not that high of a quality and there's some challenges to it. And well, if you choose to go that route, just be prepared. That's what it's all about, right? Be prepared. Knowing is half the battle. So, what we were doing off. Last time we started off putting together the cockpits. And so I kind of got started on that, and then I kind of had to finish it off, and so I continued in my spare time over the last couple of days to get these two put together. So, I'll show you kind of a side-by-side comparison of these two cockpits. If I can get my camera to focus, it might take a minute, but it will focus eventually. Come on, work with me here. Come on. We'll do one at a time. Okay, so this guy, get him in focus here. There we go. This is the Tamiya, and this is how it looks. Do this and you can see the nice green and all those nice little buttons and switches and everything in there. So that's the Tamiya one. Now I'll keep holding it there as I bring up the Revel so that the camera stays focused. And there's a Revel kit. So the Revel kit doesn't have any clear parts. The Tamiya one has a clear lens right inside there. Okay, and the Revel kit doesn't. Now, if the Revel kit looks like it's wider, it's because the Tamiya kit has these little side panels that get installed, and the Revel kit does not. The side walls are just part of the fuselage on the Revel kit. Tamiya makes them separate, and you have to assemble them yourself. Okay? Now, differences, really. The Tamiya kit, this little part up here, that's a separate piece that gets glued in with that kind of a white, I don't know what it is. I'll call it a shock absorber, but it's a shock of some kind. The Revel kit lacks any and all detail there. And in fact, in the instructions, it doesn't even tell you to paint this any different color than the regular gray. So, as you can see right off the bat, there's a big difference in the level of detail. I'm not sure what it is with the Tamiya kit, if this guy left his little brown bag in there. The Revel kit does not have any detail like that on it. And also in the Tamiya kit, you've got this little box right in there, just below my finger. But on the Revel kit, there's nothing there like that at all. So I'm not sure what that is. As you can tell, there's a joystick here in the Tamiya kit, and there is not one in the Revel kit. In the Revel kit, you put the joystick in on the seat itself. Speaking of seats, once you have these assembled, in the Revel instructions, you put in your two displays, put those in, and you move right on to assembling the seat. Well, actually, not even that. You take this and you put it in the fuselage and then assemble the seat. In the Tamiya kit, however, Tamiya goes a completely different route. Once you have assembled your little cockpit area, you move on to the landing gear. And you don't build your seats to way 3/4 of the way through the book. But I wanted to show you guys a comparison of the seats. And so I started on them. This is our Revel Seat. And it's got some decent detail on it with the brown pads and our injection pull handle thingy bobbers, and of course the joystick stuck right in between. And then we have the Tamiya Seat. The Tamiya Seat doesn't look really that much different, other than it's got the pull handle there, and doesn't have any seat belts. The seat belts on the Revel are molded. The Tamiya ones are decals that you put on. Other than that, the seats are pretty much comparable, other than maybe the detail on the top is considerably different on the two. The Revel just says, hey, paint the whole top of this khaki color and do this little hose or whatever black, and that's it, good enough. The Tamiya Seat has some kind of little I don't know, a loop of some kind up there. They just paint that center part and that's it. And that's about it. Oh, I gotta paint that black on the very back there. And that is it. So that's the seats. So I got these two assembled. This is what the cushion looks like on the Revel. It's all one piece. The Tamiya Seat, however, the two cushions are separate. So I've already glued the bottom piece in. I have to now put the seat back and in there. It's going to go like that. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to finish putting these seats together, and then we can move on to the next step. So I've got these two that have to go together on this. So I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit, because both kits, they kind of go in two different directions after this. There's so much more to do on the Tamiya kit than there is on the Revel. The Revel build is definitely a simpler build, to be sure. And because of that, it's kind of like if I was racing and to see which kit I could build faster, the Revel kit would win hands down. There's no question about it. As far as fit goes, though, to me it takes a checkered flag on that. The way everything goes together, the Tamiya kit is far superior. And that almost goes without saying. Tamiya is known for having kits that are just well engineered. And I don't know what they call it, the tooling that they use or whatever is more precise and accurate and whatever than Revel could really ever hope to have. And I'm not sure what the real reason would be behind all that, but that's just the way it is. Top piece, I'm going to have to use this stuff instead of thicker glue, so I don't want to make a big mess of it. thing I would have liked with Tamiya's glue is the brush that they include with the thin set is a nice tiny little brush. But the thicker stuff, the brush is much bigger, and therefore it's a little harder to get into tight spaces. Sometimes you want to use the thicker glue, but where you have to get into is you need a thinner brush. So it would be nice if Tamiya had used kind of a smaller brush on it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it works. But and that there is pretty much the finished product of the other seat on the Revel kit. Just done like that. Where am I here? I can't even see if it's focused. I can't focus on it, so it's obviously not focused. Let's see, if I do maybe do this. I've already shown you the seats, so it's not a big deal if it doesn't focus. Come on, focus. Whatever. Here. How about that? That focuses, didn't it? So that's the Revel seats done. Okay. Put them aside. Now the Tamiya seat, I have another piece that I haven't even taken off of the little tree. 3 pieces. I stand corrected. So, there's this, and our 2 little emergency pull handles, for lack of a better term. Now, I don't know which one does which. I don't know, I think it's the ones you pull above, pop the canopy off, and then the one in between the legs actually ejects the seat, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Okay, so this goes on this, like so. Just like that. A little glue. And then that now becomes our back cushion slash headrest. It goes in like that. It's difficult to show you guys on the camera the difference in the level of detail on the parts between the Tamiya kit and the Revel kit. Just looking at it side by side with the naked eye, you can see just the sculpting of it is much higher detail on the Tamiya kit compared to the Revel. And I mean, I don't know if I'm really giving Revel a fair shot on this, because the price of these 2 kits is a huge difference, right? The price of the Tamiya kit is, depending on where you buy it, can easily be cost $100 more than the Revel kit. So do you get what you pay for? I suppose so. The level of detail on the Tamiya is so much higher, and it actually takes you longer to build it, while at the same time you are building basically the same plane in the Revel kit, but will take you a fraction of the time to do it. And there we have the Tamiya seat is complete. Same seat, just looking a little different. And I don't think the Tamiya seats, the first one, it didn't want to sit upright on its own. I don't think it will. Oh well, it does, okay. So I've got my 4 seats completed. Those are done. Now we don't actually put them in the cockpits yet. So we have to wait. Now, next in the Revel build, we have to put the cockpit in the fuselage. So I went ahead and I painted this little section in anthracite. This little part here and back here, they're going to be painted khaki / brownish color each spot, but I'll do those at a later time. The limited detail on the inside here, there's not a lot, and that's our interior walls that are on here on the Tamiya kit, right? So this is going to sit in like that, just like so. Now, when I built my other one, when I built this the first time, the front part wasn't lining up and wasn't connected, and even this one, it feels really kind of loose in there, and there's nothing really holding it on the front edge at all. So although I can put some glue along here at the back, the front is not being held in by anything at all. Like, quite literally. Now, I could put some glue on the top here and hope that actually lines up inside here, right here. That's where it's touching, or it's supposed to touch. So I'll do that, but I still might wind up having to do what I did on the original one, on my first attempt at building this kit. What I wound up having to do was I took a piece of sprue and glued it in. Okay, so let's see how this fits in there. Maybe if I hold it, it'll stay. Though I don't have a lot of confidence in it. We'll see. See, at this point, I'd like to have something to squeeze it. A rubber band I could maybe utilize. I can get my fingers in there. There we go. Kind of hold it for me. Okay, so we'll see how that holds. I'll actually show you what I had to do before. Because I still have the old fuselage. It's been my kind of experimental painting piece. Hello, focus. 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 Thank you. So this is how it turned out before. There's version 1.0 and 2.0. Anyway, so I couldn't get it to, it did not want to connect to anything, so I took a piece of sprue and I glued it at the front there. Nice and, well, it worked. That held it in spot much better than, yeah. So, as you can see, I've been playing around with some clear blue and clear red, painted over silver, and then that's light gunmetal and regular gunmetal. Just seeing how it looks on the different ones. Anyway. So that's that. So while that's drying, or setting, or whatever, we'll flip the page and see what's next. So on the next page, Revel wants us to put the seats in. Put the seats in here with the joystick, which I've already put on the seat, and then put the pilot in, which I'm not putting the pilot in. I was actually, I was thinking about it. I was thinking of actually doing this one with the landing gear up, and then displaying it actually flying in the air. It seems these days airplane kits are basically made with the assumption that you're going to build them with the landing gear down. And in some cases, even if you were to try and put the landing gear up, a lot of times the bay doors don't fit on the spots that they're supposed to if you try and have them closed. Or you have a situation in this case. So here's our interior wall of the front landing gear, and this is supposed to literally just, you slide it in like that, and there you go, and it's in there, and you just glue it. Fits kind of snug, just like that, and you just glue it like that, and you wind up having, where am I here? You wind up having your interior wall of your landing gear and the landing gear bay doors already open for you. And that's how Revel does it, which is not a bad way to go, unless you want it displayed with the landing gear up. That's what it basically looks like. Your two bay doors are open, you have your landing gear down, okay, and that's that. You have your little landing gear bay box, and then of course the underneath of the cockpit has the detail for the ceiling portion of your landing gear bay. And that's pretty cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But what if I want the landing gear raised? Well, that's going to require me cutting these hinges off and figuring out how to glue those in such, actually it's going to go this way, how to glue those in such a way that they're nice and sealed and closed and stuff. So I kind of eyeballed this, and it looks like it's going to work when I cut these apart. This piece, of course, is part of the landing gear. Which one is it on? Here. As you might be able to tell, I've started painting things white because there's a lot of white in all the landing gear pieces. But the part that goes right here in this little slot is molded on here. Where are we here? This guy. It's molded onto this little piston rod or whatever. On the Tamiya kit, that same piece is not molded on there. That's a separate piece. But that being said, the Tamiya kit, the detail that they have for the landing gear, would almost be a sin not to have the landing gear down on the Tamiya kit, because you build all the walls on the Tamiya kit. All these walls that are in here in this pod. Oh, there's a comparison on the Tamiya kit. They're hollow. You have to build those. You have to build this complete bay yourself on the Tamiya kit. In fact, I think on the upper fuselage, you have the details of the ceiling like Revel did on the front landing gear. Anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. But that I have to work on, because I figured I'm going to have the landing gear down on the Tamiya kit and have it up on the Revel kit. With whatever challenges that I'm going to wind up facing with that, so be it. Okay, so Revel wants the cockpit seats in, and they basically just drop in and you just kind of slide them back as far as they go and you're done. There's not a heck of a lot of movement that you can do on them. It slides back and forth, maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. That's about it. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of room for error as far as putting these in. There's no definitive slot to put it on, or any peg in a hole that you have to line up or anything. You literally just put them down in there and set it and forget it. So I'm going to use my paintbrush just to help me get a good press down on there. Kind of make sure it's kind of centered in there. Not crooked. We don't want crooked seats after all. Okay, so there's the pilot, or the main. Although I do have them not sitting quite square. There we go. So I suppose there is a little room for error. You could put them in there kind of cockeyed a little bit. Okay, the rear one. This is our Revel again. Don't get the Revel seats and the Tamiya seats mixed up. The rear one seems to, the rear one is a bit tighter of a fit. Oops. My little emergency pull thing wants to come off. So I'm going to resort to using a little bit more glue. Even if it makes a little mess of it. Okay. Alright. Come good. Looks pretty good. Okay, so there's our seats. We now have the seats in the cockpit, just like that. We got a cockpit happening there, and the Revel kit. And that's that. So, I'm going to take my rubber band off of here and we'll see if that's sticking or not. And, oh, I guess I got it to go. So I had better luck this time around than I did on the first build. This is staying in there good. So that's good. Let me take that off of there. Good, I'm happy about that. So that's that. Let's put this aside. Let's take a look at the Tamiya kit and what we need to do on that. What's next with Tamiya? Pardon me while I get a drink here. It, of course, would have been nice if both companies kind of had you assemble the model the same steps in the same order, but there is actually a lot more to do with the Tamiya kit. So this part is all complete. Page 1 is done, or I guess page 1.1.5 on the Tamiya kit. So Tamiya now wants me to build the landing gear box. And this is a big part of it right here. There's part 1, just like that. I need G37 and 35. Take my glasses off to read these. 37. 35, I saw it. There it is. Now I know already I need 36 because that's the other side of the wall. What else do we have? G15 and 55. There's 55. And I need 15. It's 19, 14, 15. Okay, so we'll start with these. On my 37, I need to glue this guy on into, looks like this spot here, like that. Switch to my other glasses. So although I don't need to see any fine detail in doing this, I do need to see a little bit, but yet when I take these off I can't see the instructions. So switching glasses like that. Not quite. I just needed a place to put them while I put that down. Alright, there we go. Okay, so that's glued on there. We have to glue this guy down. Where does he go? Well, he definitely goes on here, but they're a little bit vague. Oh, right there. Just like that. Okay. I'll use my thin set for you. Alright. That's one of those things where, you know, why'd they make that a separate piece? They could have easily molded that on there, you know, but that's not too important. Okay, so we have this guy. This guy's part of the front landing gear, I think. It's going to go in there. And this is going to go into these two slots. And this guy goes into these two slots. So, and this guy goes in between them. And he has to be oriented correctly. Just like that. Okay. So for now, I'm going to disassemble so I can add some glue. We'll call that the test fit. Put a little bit of glue on these little pegs here. And some glue on this. Okay, so then we have our front and back walls, G38 and 39. I think they're right on here too. Yep. And as you can see, just by this part alone, I'm not really having to clean up any of the parts. I don't have a lot of extra or any flashing to trim off or get rid of. It's all just fitting together really nicely. Just kind of the signature of a Tamiya kit, right? Usually I've found if you're having problems assembling a Tamiya kit, you're probably trying to put it together wrong. It's been kind of my experience. You're either putting something in the wrong spot, or you have it in backwards or upside down or something to that effect. And this one's going to go in like that. You can see how all these four corners all lock everything together. fact that just slid on there perfectly shows that I had everything lined up great. And just add a little bit more glue just to secure, make sure everything, it's not going anywhere. And there's our box, our front landing gear box. Know that this is going to be lined up perfect because it actually lines up with that little rod coming out of there, which I'm going to put a little bit of glue on and make sure it's going to stay put. Just like that. Maybe a little bit too much glue. So, where's my knife go? There it is. Just want to trim some of that away. Where's my paper towel? I need another piece of paper towel. Just a little too much glue on it, and I feel that's going to interfere later on. Okay. Just to make sure our little piece ain't gonna move around on us, we'll do that, and there we go. So now, the next step is to flip this over and put our cockpit on it. But I'll just, because of the fact that I just put it together, I'm just gonna put it on the cockpit rather than the other way around. This big peg, these line up with a couple of things. A few things all get lined up. And plop. Just like that. We have our front piece just about ready to go. The next step is to actually put it in the fuselage. But I want this to dry for a few minutes anyway before I do that. And I need to get the fuselage prepped. Okay. Now, I've already taken this off the tree, obviously. In preparation for this, I have to clean that off. Yes. Oh, there was something I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you in this video, because somebody had asked me on when I was building the first Revel kit, somebody had commented, asked me a question about what I did. How did I address the big sprue knobs or nubs, whatever they call them, on the Revel kit, on the body, on the fuselage? So Revel is nice enough to not just put a normal sprue nub, they put these long things like this on the fuselage. So you have to deal with this great big nub. And there's one here and here and here. And this wasn't even on a tree. It was just, they have them on there, just left over. If you use nippers, you can't really get in there and get it cleanly. So, this is what I did. I left this one specifically so I could show you. So I'm just going to move this out of the way for now. Okay. So, I take this like this, and I throw my knife at it, and there its face. Okay, I take my knife, and I just simply, I don't know if you can really see what I'm doing here. Neither camera's a really good angle. Maybe I'll turn it around. Okay. Take it, and all I'm going to do is take my knife and kind of run along the edge. And I'm basically cutting it. Now you notice I don't have my hand up in the air. I'm just using my fingers. I'm moving my fingers only. I'm doing this so that I have a lot more control. And I don't accidentally, you know, cut through and it gets through here and I cut into the cut in over here where I don't want to touch it all, right? So I'm basically just using my knife to cut this through. And you can see as I cut through, it's wanting to move, and that's good. And even if it takes 7, 8, 9 cuts, that's okay. Take your time. Don't try to go through too deep at once. And you should be okay. There we go. Now I have something to work with there. It's not perfect by any means, but it's a lot better than if I tried to trim it off with the nippers. And so what I'll do now, I'll take this somewhat rough sanding sponge just to get any excess. I'm not pressing hard. I just want to make it so that it's kind of smooth. I can definitely feel I don't have anything really sticking out, nothing left over. But of course it doesn't look that great. So I'll take, I don't know, I got a number 6000 sanding sponge here, and just kind of go over it like this to smooth it out. And that is now pretty much gone. That's ready. If I wanted to paint this, that is more than perfectly well done and ready for paint. I'm not actually painting this a different color though. I'm going to leave this plain the same color as it is. So the only thing that this thing is going to get in the end is a semi-gloss, a clear semi-gloss over the whole thing. And anything that I can see from that nub, well, that semi-gloss is 100% hiding it. So that's how I got rid of that. I have a little bit of a flashing on there, you can see right now. Trim that. It's almost like the little hole that they molded for the pin is almost too close to the edge, and it's actually, this edge is too thin right there, and you can see there's a little cut, like a dent right there. If I was a perfectionist or a professional modeler, I would fill that in with some putty or something like that. Anyway, where were we? I just wanted to show you guys that, because somebody specifically asked how I dealt with those on that Revel kit, which of course you don't have anything like that in the Tamiya kit. The Tamiya kit is much friendlier in that regard. Why Revel made such wide nubs like that, I don't know. So there were a couple of things. On the Tamiya kit you have the option here. This is cut out to accommodate if you want to have the mid-air refueling tube coming out from right here, which you don't have on the Revel kit. So I went with closing it because I don't like that being open. The other thing is you have this panel right here for the machine gun. For whatever reason, this comes as a separate piece, and you have to glue that on. And that's right here in the diagram. So I went ahead and I glued that on already also. But just in looking at this, there's an extra little piece that needs to be glued in right here because this is a hole. So we have the detail for the machine gun, B11. Let's search for the B. It's the D. Hey, I found the D. Here's the B. So we're looking for 11, and that's this piece right here. Everyone is literally, like, if there was a useless piece for detail or lack thereof, that's this. They don't mention whether to paint it or not. It really is just a piece. Woohoo! To fill in that little hole and no other purpose. I think it's just simply to, if you actually decide to take a look in that hole to see if you can see anything, well, you'll see something. That's really the only purpose I can think of for that. But there it is. That's installed. Just like that. Okay. Now, I think this is probably glued enough. Yeah. Staying together. That's the main thing, right? So we got to put these two together, put it all together. So we have our nice little locator pegs and pins, and that's really helpful. Where do they go? Well, right back here. Based on the size of the hole here, you want to naturally figure out it maybe goes here or something, right? But if you're trying to do that, nothing lines up at all. But when you pull this back and go way back here, suddenly everything lines up. And the beauty of this is there's no movement. It's solid in there. So I can freely put glue on these pegs and be done. And go doink, that is now in there and finished. Right? That's the beauty of that. So that's what I'm going to do. And I can put as much or as little glue on these as I want, because there's not going to be any overlap or any seams or any glue to squish out from anywhere. And I can just make sure it's nice and solid and firm and not going anywhere. Now we're going to have to do the big test, is how well does this fit onto the other half. Do I have gaps? Do I have places where it doesn't want to line up? That is always the big big deal when it comes to this stuff, right? So here's a test fit. I'll obviously have to hold that together, but that's to be expected. Other than that, it fits together flawlessly. I've not reused the rubber band before like that. I wonder if it would stay on there. I just kind of... Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not small enough. I'd need the rubber band to be like here. But anyway, that's that. So I'm going to get pre-cut a couple of pieces of tape and get ready to glue the two halves together. Three, just in case. Okay, so let's take this off. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my big globs of glue here and here and here and here. And I can put one at the very back here. Okay. No reason I could do that back here is because this is going to be hidden and it doesn't matter if I got glue sticking out and looking ugly or whatever. So, first things first, let's put a strip along here just to make sure that holds together. Okay? Alright, so now I'm going to use my thin set. So with the thin set, I don't have to worry about glue sticking out because it will just naturally travel into the cracks. And then it kind of disappears. Once it's done that, another piece just to make sure it stays. And now we go to the nose, because the nose knows. Just like that. Now, of course, there's not a big issue with, there's not a lot of pressure. It's not really wanting to spread apart that hard, you know. So a lot of times you go to put these things together and you really got to press hard to keep them together, right? And then you got to really make sure the tape is tight and sticking on there perfectly. And that's that. So that was our next page on the Tamiya kit. That's tight. Let's flip the page on the Tamiya kit. So the Tamiya kit wants us to put a cover over here, which we already have on the Revel kit. See, the Revel kit is all solid here, and the Tamiya obviously isn't, and same here, right? So the Tamiya kit, they have it as a separate piece, and I got to paint that. That's not a problem at all. So let's find that piece in the Tamiya kit. That is number H6. H is right here. And that's this guy here. Another point of detail in the Tamiya kit compared to Revel is this actually has rivets lining along here, and of course the Revel kit doesn't have any detail like that at all. Now I'm just realizing I'm kind of inadvertently putting down the Revel kit, making it seem like it's a shitty kit. So they want this to be tucked back under here and go like that, and then it sits just like that. And that's nice. It fits nice and perfect. All I gotta do is get this painted. Now, I'm not doing black, I'm doing the anthracite. So what I want to do, I'm going to put an alligator clip on here to hold it so it doesn't fly away on me when I go to paint it. So I'm using the anthracite by Revel. I like the fact it's almost black, but not quite black. The only thing I do hate, I don't like the way it comes out of the cans. But it's just a preference thing, I think. As I show you against my black shirt here. There. One coat's all it really takes. Although it will take a few minutes to try. I'll just kind of tuck it over here. Just like that. So while that's drying, we can take a look at what's next. And what's next is Tamiya's little they want me to put the paneling here. I can do that soon enough. I guess I can do it now. We're looking for D18. Now I need the D. That's not D. This is D. First, so I'm going to get this piece off of the tree because I know what's next. I know this is coming up, and like I said, right in here is the top side of the landing gear, and so I need to paint that white. And I need 2 coats to do it. Just those 2 spots. So with that done, let that dry while I put this on. This is number D18. just an extra little panel they want me to assemble. A lot of times if I can't see any evidence of the sprue nubs or whatever, I'll feel it. And if it feels smooth, I know it's good. Alright. This goes on in a specific way. It only goes on one way. It goes just like that. Just like that, and done. So, again, just another testament to Tamiya's fit and finish. That it just sat down in place and is perfect. And don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's going to dry now. We put that aside because our next step is assembling our wing mechanism. And as I mentioned before, this is a totally different system than on the Revel kit. The Revel kit doesn't use anything, well, I can't say anything, but it doesn't use this mechanism really at all in this way. Tamiya has engineered this in such a way that there's no mistaking it, and it actually, although it's more of a process, in the end it's much easier to put the plane together when it's actually time. So these both use this cog system, these gears, so that the wings will open and close at the same time. Both kits do that. Revel's just does theirs in a separate way. They do theirs like this. It works just the same. Is there an advantage over having these big teeth compared to these little ones? I don't think so, really. Once it's all together, they work pretty much the same. What I did find is when you're assembling it, the Revel kit sometimes will get out of... You'll see, when I get to that part where I'm actually putting this together, you'll see the problems that I'm going to go through compared to the Tamiya kit. I need to put another coat of white on that before I start working on it. And not only do that, but I don't really need to worry about it. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. So we have this, and we've got to take these, and we orient them the way they're supposed to go. We have to get number E25. Now I have to find E. I saw E in my travels. Okay. 25, there we go. So they're just two little cone type looking things. cone type looking things. That's what I'm going to call them. Where are we at here? I think I have to get going soon. I do. Crap. I'll assemble this part and then I gotta go. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to clean these up because I didn't use my nippers to get rid of them. I first heard somebody call these things nippers. I was like, what? What do you mean nippers? How could you call them nippers? So this is kind of a tight fit, but it's not bad. Okay. Now, with those on, we take this and we put it over that hole like that. I'm going to do the same with this one. Like this. And we want them lined up so that they're the same orientation. There you go. See? Perfect. Okay? Alright. Now, this is where this little baggie comes in, because we need washers and screws. So I'm going to open my bag. Don't need such a big bag. Okay. There's also a couple of poly caps in here. Those come later on. I remember that from when I built my other Tamiya F-14 a couple of years back. Come on out of there. No, it's going to be easier. Just dump everything out. Take what I need. And put it back. It was the most frustrating part of the Tamiya build. Is the stupid bag. Now, one thing I don't remember is why I have one screw that's shorter than the rest. Oh well, that's a problem for future me. Line my wings back up. Okay, so put the washer on the screw. Who's calling me? Nobody important. So you want to tighten it down tight enough that you're feeling the resistance that it doesn't really want to go anymore, and that's when you stop. Okay, you don't want to leave it loose, but you don't really need to crank down on it either. So there we go. And that should just like that. Now you bring this way out, you can go too far, right? And then you wind up with having to realign it, right? Having a bit of a resistance issue there. What's going on there? Something is hitting. And I think something is hitting this little channel right there. There's nothing on the teeth itself. So I'm just going to trim this down a little bit. that will probably cure that problem right there. Oops. Line them back up. Let's see. Yeah. Oops. Problem gone. Just like that. I don't think the wings actually come out that far, but there's that. Okay, now what do we do? The next step is this little crossbar. That's why we have extra screws. Now this goes this way, and this is going to go, do we use any screws? No? Or we use screws, yes, but no poly caps. This simply goes on here. Just like that. And that reinforces everything and keeps it all in place. So all that trouble I had putting these screws back, I'm going to dump them all out again. Except for my odd numbered poly caps. It's going to stay in the bag. Now, they inform me that the short screw goes in the back here. Good thing this is magnetic, or I'd be mad right now. Just a couple of threads for now, just so I can get everything lined up. Enough. And of course we do have one screw that is longer than the others too. And that's clearly the one that goes in the front here. Okay, so we screw them down. Again, just enough that there's some resistance. You don't need to crank down on it. Enough. Enough. And good enough. So now, in theory, this won't fall apart on you. As long as these things now it keeps them from bending any weird way, and that's perfect every time. If you really wanted to, if I don't know if you can hear that, right? I don't know if you can hear that on the mic or not. If you really wanted to get rid of that, you could maybe take a little dab of grease or something and put it underneath there, and then screw it down, so that it's just got a smoother transition as it slides through under there. If that's what if you're really concerned about that, you can do that. That's done, and this page is done, and that means we are done. I'm going to end this for this one. For part 2, that'll be it. We'll take a quick look and see what's going to be coming up next here. For the Tamiya kit, I'm going to be working on intake stuff for those pieces that go up in here, except it's on the other part of the fuselage. It's on the bottom half. This is the top, right? Yeah. So that's that. Let's see, a trim piece I might have to clean off on there and there, possibly. Anyway, so yeah, on the Tamiya one, that's that. What's next on the Revel? On Revel, we've got the seats in. We're putting our intakes and engines in next, and doing the wings. So you get to experience that fun with me next time. It's the wings on the Revel kit. And putting the two halves together. In the meantime, what I'm going to do in my spare time is I'm going to work on my landing gear bay doors on the Revel kit and getting those put in. And then in part 3, I'll kind of explain and walk you through what I had to do, if anything really crazy, if I had to do anything special, how difficult or easy it's going to turn out to be. But we'll see then. So until then, I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for coming out. If you've made it this far, you know, subscribe, hit a like on there, leave a comment if you like, let me know how I'm doing, what you think. If you think I'm doing it all wrong, let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. You guys who subscribe to me on my YouTube, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You guys who subscribe to me on Twitch, or at least follow me, you can't subscribe yet, I'm not affiliated, but you guys who follow me on Twitch, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you want to check out either one, if you're watching me on YouTube and you want to check out my Twitch channel, I'll put the links down below in the comments. www.twitch.tv/duplicitous_29. And if you want to take a look at still shots, I take still shots of all my builds. When I'm all finished with them, I take a couple of pictures of them and I upload them onto my Instagram. And again, if you want to check those out, again, I'll put the links down in the little description box below, and you can check me out there if you like. I also do have Twitter that I don't really use, other than I notify whenever I upload something on Twitter or on YouTube. I do the notification on Twitter, and that's about all I use it for. I'm being honest, I'm not really active on Twitter. I guess this guy's dry now. Yeah, so once again, thank you so much. Thanks for watching, thanks for coming out, I really appreciate it, guys. And so, yeah, until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you all in part 3.